Welcome to Coach SG and Friends, where we discuss topics that help you have a better relationship with yourself and others. I am Coach SG, otherwise known as your joyful friend. I'm a relationship coach and life mentor, an entrepreneur and speaker. I'm based out of Los Angeles, but originally from Brooklyn, New York. I love great music, deep conversations, and inspiring people to live their best emotional lives and create their most amazing love story. Let me introduce you to my two friends, Janessa Rose and Lisa Miranda. Janessa is the CEO of Motivational Monsters, a nonprofit that helps people activate mental health and emotional well-being through creative arts. She is the author of How to Stop Being an Effing Bum. BUM stands for Broken Urban Mentality. She's been dubbed the Tony Robbins / Cardi B of motivational speakers, and she calls herself the Galactic Goddess. Lisa Miranda is an actor and creative director. She's also dabbling in producing. She is based in Miami, New York, and Paris. She is a world traveler who speaks several languages, who loves life, good people, and good conversation. So we want to welcome you to our podcast. Let's get started. Welcome back. Good to see you guys. So we are going to be talking about today wrapping up the year emotionally, celebrating our wins, and preparing for our blessings. I think, this time of year with the, especially with the pandemic, there's just been so much change in the world and so much going on. And the fact that we've got all these restrictions just to keep us safe, it has kind of limited us in some ways. And I want to make sure that we have a podcast where we just talk about how we can focus on our blessings and celebrating our wins and not focusing on the things that, we can't control. So who wants to start?
I think it's such a wonderful time at the end of the year to take stock of all the good things that have happened, wonderful people that might have come into your life, things that you've discovered about yourself, new passions, discovery, growth, all of that. It's because there's so many good things that happen throughout the year, and sometimes because we're just moving so much, we forget, like, oh, I met this wonderful person in January, or I had this great thing happen at work in March. I think it's so important to relive those special moments and just get excited about all the wonderful, unexpected things that have happened.
Love that.
So for me, last year, I was like the complete opposite of where I am this year. So the contrast between last year and this year is so different. And I'm just so grateful. Again, if it wasn't for that contrast, I would not be as grateful this year. It's such a huge shift for me. So it's been beautiful. It's the only thing that focusing on the shift and growing and all that's changed and all that's coming full circle, at the end, it's like, okay, this is the thing that's going to keep me from being not so seasonally depressed, which is usually a thing for me. So it's been beautiful. I'm super excited about it.
So what did you do different?
For me, I focused on the good. Every time it got hard, every time, I really embraced the idea of the ebb and flow. I really, really got clear with this is not an option. This is the law. This is the law. It's going to be up and down, in and out, black and white, good and bad. It's what I focus on that allows this to be easier and me to normalize it and be in harmony with it, right? Because that's the key. Because if it's not optional and the up and down and the in and out is going to happen, then the harmony with the up and down is the focus. But I would always be like, well, this is the worst news ever. Well, this is relationships going to, shit. This is just focusing on the negatives and how it's not what I want it to be. It's so against what I desire. And I would focus on that. And that would just keep me stuck in the, So
Right.
Really what changed for me was my focus. I started to really embrace the ebb and flow, the as above, so below. That rhymes. But I was really, really, really focused on, okay, transitions happen, heavy things happen. They're part of the the swing up. So I'm just going to get really excited about what it looks like on the come up, and that has been like a little gasoline to the vehicle, boy. I was like, oh, we unlocked the code. We unlocked.
Dame más gasolina. No, I'm just kidding. Well, I know for me, like, I think, the end of the year, just like in like business, we kind of take stock of the year and kind of look at things. And I know we were talking about this yesterday on the podcast, is that, I tend to look at what I need to fix, what I didn't get, accomplished, instead of just looking at my accomplishments. And I think, it's really important that our listeners, do that, where they take stock of the things that they feel really successful about, the blessings that they had, the wins that they had, because the things that you need to fix, you can set your intention for next year, but you really have to look at what you did right, and what really made some improvement on. It's not about if you made your goal, but did you improve at least? So we want to look at those blessings, we want to look at those improvements. And I know for myself, I said that I was going to do a podcast. And look, I don't even know what episode this is. I think it's like episode 29 or 30 or something like that. So and at the time that I was thinking about, I wanted to do a podcast, I didn't know, that I would have you two wonderful ladies to do it with. So, everything just started to align itself. And I know that I'm really proud, and I feel really blessed about that. And so, and Lisa and I were talking about yesterday, when when I do a gratitude journal, I also add a section called, my success journal. And not only do I write what I'm grateful for, but I write what I feel successful about. And what that helps me do is to help fill up my cup, and help me focus on what I'm improving on, instead of what I need to fix today, so.
Funny, because I've used so much of the things that I've learned on this podcast, and I've applied it into my life. And sometimes it's not even the big things, but sometimes it's like something small. And then the way I think about things, it shifts a little bit. Like I had like a good call with someone who wanted to work with me, and then yesterday, and then I thought, okay, great. But it's totally normal that I have a lot of other meetings before I make any decisions. And and instead of like feeling like, it's weird that, I shouldn't tell people I have a lot of other options. They might think I'm not serious. And then you know what I'm saying? Like that would have been the old kind of, that would have been the old viewpoint. And now that shift of actually, I'm good at what I do. I'm desired. People want to work with me. It's normal that I'd have a lot of options. So those little shifts, and I think is so powerful, because then what you imagine that you can have changes completely. And you can only have what's within the scope of what you believe you can have. So it's so powerful sometimes when these little things, you think, okay, I'm just making these slight shifts, but how is this going to help manifest something else in my life? And it manifests anything and everything else in your life, because the way you see your life changes completely gradually.
Love that.
That is so great. So recent, the same thing has been happening to me in my nonprofit world. I'm like, everybody's like, oh, can you do this? Can you do this? Can you be part of this? Do you want to do that? And it's like, at first, I remember being in the space last year, like, how am I going to get started back into this flow of things now that we're opening back up? And as soon as I got into that, it started to happen. And now I've been battling with the like, why can't you say no to things that you don't really stand for? Like, yeah, you're a community organizer, but not every part of the community you want to organize something for. You know what I mean? And not every cause is your cause. You don't support everybody's vision. Some people's visions aren't really in alignment with truth and things for others. Sometimes it's the own personal thing. And although your paperwork and your things seem, all together, I was like, well, they're an organization. I should, because it's community work, I should be there. And it's like, Yeah, but you can tell the energy. You can see what people's intentions are. You can see what it is that they're standing for and they're representing. And I had a battle with myself because I was feeling like if I'm a community leader, I need to support all of the community. That's not true. It's good that I'm desired and that I am acknowledged for my skills in organizing and doing work within the community, but I should be okay with saying, you know what, I really am booked this week or booked this month and I'm tired and I need to rest. And you know what, also is okay for me to say, you know what, with all due respect, I don't support that cause. I shouldn't have to feel, you know what I mean? Like it's not nice of me or something to say. I should be very clear with my intentions and be in that space of, you know what? Because I want to manifest a high level of a foundation and the type of organization that I'm running. I want that to be a part of the consideration when people are asking me. I want people to think, you know what? She's not going to go for this. It's not what she represents. It's not what she stands for. This doesn't go with her brand. This doesn't go with her organization. So that's what that reminded me of, Lisa. It just made me feel like I've been telling too many people yes, maybe.
I love that self-care in running your business. I think that's really important. And I feel like I've had some similar things where I had to turn down some people to coach because I didn't want to take on any more people while I was creating these courses. So I get it. And I think, that's part of, that self-care that sometimes you have to say no to people or you have to reconsider, like Lisa was saying, like you don't have to just say yes to everything. You can take a moment and see how it feels in your spirit. And if it's aligned with your vision and your goals, and if it's something that you feel like you want to collaborate with. So I love that. I think, the other thing is, I'm sure people are having some emotional difficulty or going through some emotional obstacles. And I just want to maybe help them, I don't know, give them some information that can help them kind of get through it if they feel like, well, how can I wrap up the year emotionally, looking at my blessings if I'm still feeling, not so great. So do you guys have any advice for someone who's not feeling all that great?
Yeah. For me, I had well, I'm very thankful for like my health and well-being, and I really leaned in more into that because the second half of my year was a lot different than what I anticipated. And it ended up being one of like the fundamental things I could be like happy about when chaos struck. Dun dun dun. But basically, I'm smiling now, but I had an accident in my building and my apartment was pretty much completely destroyed with almost everything that I own. And it was a new place and everything I had put in there was new. And a lot of things I'll never be able to replace. And it was like, and it just happened after like a real good high. Like I had a couple of really fantastic months and I kept saying this year was on board to be my best year yet. And I remember thinking, well, at least I still feel healthy. And then suddenly I had like a throat issue with like some of the bad air I was inhaling from the apartment. And then I said, no, don't take that away from me. But then I really focused on acknowledging how well I handled the situation, how my thoughts were different, how I have so many wonderful people in my life who are available, kind, supportive. And I'm not the kind of person who likes to take help, or I feel very weird about it sometimes. And instead, I was able to really let people show me that they love me and that they're there for me. And I kept celebrating that. And eventually, like my throat issues went away, my voice, because I do a lot of voiceovers too. So I was like, oh, fuck. Like now I can't, my throat's not in a good place, but eventually it just all went away. And even though like everything has not resolved and I don't know exactly where I'm going to live and all of that, I refuse to take the focus off this year being an amazing year, period. I don't know if after I really go through the list, it'll be, the best year ever, but I'm hell bent on finishing this year so wonderfully that it ends up being one of my best years, period. And not focusing all my attention on what went wrong. And then it was just also like a series of things went wrong that like, I told myself, I was just like, I'm very proud of you for not making this your whole life, you know, like I ended up, my hair got burned and then I had to do
What?
another
You
big
didn't tell us
chop.
that part.
Yeah, girl, because I was trying not be crazy. So so I had a lot of issues. Like August, September were probably the worst of my adult life. But again, I was like, this is not gonna go down as being the one, because so many wonderful things had happened that I prefer to focus my attention on, to relive, to recreate, and then to propel me to an end of the year that I was still excited about. Because you know, when bad things were happening, I was like, you know what? Some people are really triggering me, and some people aren't taking care of their responsibilities and the things that they owe to me. Like for example, the building. And I said, Lisa, do you think these people are losing sleep? Do you think these people are not eating because of your situation? No. So why don't you remove that power, the power of the situation from your life too? You do the best so that you can sleep. You do the best so that you eat well. You know what? If you can't stay in your apartment, stay somewhere that you're gonna love. You know, like I was supposed to babysit for 2 weeks. I took those kids anyway. They stayed with me at a hotel. I didn't want to let this just kind of, you know, I didn't want this to end, you know, all the work I was doing with myself. And I know for a fact that I'm a lot stronger and I'm aware of my strengths in a whole different way than before all this stuff happened.
I got to tell you how proud I am of you.
Thank you.
Me too.
I am so proud of you. That's what it is, Lisa. That's the key, kid. And you know what else? You said, I am hell bent on saying that this was the most amazing, right? We got to pay attention to our words. The most amazing year yet. And the reason why you're going through those hardships is because what we speak is what we create. In order for it to be you amazed at yourself, you will have to get over some real shit. And let me tell you, I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you. I'm almost emotional. I know what it's like. I know what it's like. Yeah, I am emotional. I know what it's like. It's hard. It's hard. But that's what you do, girl. That's the keys. You got it. You cracked the code. Stay on it. You are amazing and you are going to amaze yourself. You've already been amazing yourself. You are so resilient. So I'm so proud of you. I really have to tell you that. Makes me emotional, but I'm proud. I'm proud
Thank
of
you,
my
Janessa.
See, I'm proud of you, Lisa, as well. And you know, we've worked together, so I know. But you know, I think those are the things like Janessa was saying. You almost have to, like, you know, when you say I want to stand in my power, and then situations arise, you have the opportunity to stand in your power and choose different thoughts and choose a different, you know, choose different optics and the way that you're going to handle things and not let it take you out. Because I know for me, you know, when tragedy struck, I got panicked. I wanted to fight. You know, I got angry. And I didn't realize that I was creating my next, you know, experience. I didn't understand vibration. I didn't understand alignment. I didn't understand any of that stuff. Things happened, and now I want to fix that issue. But I would take my eye off the vision, you know, while I'm fixing this crap. And really, what I have to know, what I know now, because you know, I don't even want to know which one to share. I've had so many obstacles this year, but it still was the best year that I ever had, because I learned how to calibrate. I learned how to go like, oh, I'm being guided. It looks like this is happening to me, but it's actually happening for me. So when, you know, the shit was, my office was not working out and I was fighting with that guy, it was time for me to leave that office and to not sign another lease so that I could travel, you know, in my RV. It was also so I can, you know, my apartment I had because you know, I had my office down the street. So it set up, you know, a series of things to push me towards where I was going. And I thought it was a problem. I saw it as a problem. And really, it just was stuff that was happening for me. So now when I get bad news or I get something that's like, what in the hell? You know, I'm like, okay, we got this. All right. You know, and I sit with myself. I don't take action until I meditate, until I write, until I feel inspired to act. I do not want to react to anything, you know, but I respond. So that's awesome. That's great. I'm proud of the both of you as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You know, I was gonna say also this year, what you just said, Cheryl, made me think of, it's so important what you decide to talk about. the things that you speak about often. And like, for example, when I had to do like another big chop, when I told like one family member the first, what the hell, blah, 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 someone else, did you call this hairstylist? The hairstylist never even knew, because it's just like, what am I going to go fight her? Like, I was like, okay, if I give this more attention, I'm just going to have to continue to either get upset or explain why I'm not upset. There's no point, you know? And some things, if I needed some help with something, okay, I would talk about it. But just to have a conversation that was going to bring me down, I didn't want to have it, because I would rather talk to people about good things, or things that would make me excited about the future. And I also distinguish the difference between not talking about things, or not blocking my emotions, and addressing things, but making sure I'm keeping a positive outlook and healthy conversations. So the difference is, if I'm not letting my emotions come through, if I'm blocking them, it's painful inside. But if I already deal with the things inside, I don't need to keep talking about it. I could change the conversation and make sure I'm having happy conversations that have me living in what's becoming, and not just some bad things that did happen. I'm not taking situations that make me feel bad and hitting repeat, calling on my friends saying, let's talk about how shitty this is. And I think that's one of the things that saved me from not tanking my year.
That's alchemy.
In the science, we were missing you yesterday on the podcast.
We had no science.
I know. I tried. I didn't have any.
we gotta give it a new name, because I don't know if the stuff I kick is science. It's more like, it's like Mayans.
Explain the alchemy though.
Well, alchemy, an alchemist was somebody who was known as more like a mystic, but they knew how to take one thing and turn it into another. Alchemists are people who take metals, precious metals, and turn them into other things, and they use the elements and so on and so forth. But the alchemist, and the book The Alchemist that everybody knows about, right? Really, the alchemy and the changing and the thing that they were looking for, that they kept trying to see, what was it called? The something stone. Anyway, it's the real alchemy is the mastery of self, of the energies that we all have, which are the elements. You know, this is not science. This is more something else. But this is what you're doing when you're saying, I know I shouldn't talk about the things that make me vibrationally sad. I feel bad. Or we logically say to ourselves, because some of us, those that are watching, don't know this. So you're saying, well, I know those things hurt me. When I'm talking, I'm reliving the story. I'm putting on the outfit of the pain, of the hurt, of the trauma, whatever it is. You're awakened to that now. Now you are stepping into the field of self-mastery. You are consciously stopping your subconscious pattern of complain or doom and gloom or stinking thinking. We all know these sayings. This is alchemy. You're saying, I choose, although I know the circumstances is different, and I feel a way, I choose to start to change my paradigm and my pattern. I'm not going to speak about the bad things that make me sad. I'm going to consciously say, you know what, but this is good. I damn for sure didn't eat all week, but this outfit's hitting. But this is alchemy in the most modern way. But it's really what you're doing is you're maintaining your frequency to keep you on a higher level, to make you feel good, so that way you can control. I mean, you can call them more good, because we're always manifesting. It's the law to attract what we're vibrating on. You're now conscious of the vibrational frequency. You may not have the measuring tool, the apparatus to see your numbers of your frequencies and so on and so forth. I don't even know if we have that yet, but you know what I mean? You know it doesn't feel good. And you're consciously making the choice of, I rather go to the things that make me feel good. So now you're conscious of this. This is alchemy. You are intentionally changing the paradigm. You're changing the pattern. Your self-mastery. This is big. This is the things we need to be celebrating.
Absolutely.
I'm proud of Lisa. This is real.
Thank you.
You don't know, boo, but let me tell you, this is big level work. It's big level work. If you sat with a mystic and you told them that, they'll be low key like, huh, you want to say it? the student, when the student's ready, the teacher appears, something like that.
I love that.
Yes.
You tapping into all that goodness, sis.
Thank you.
And I think, I think this is what we've been yearning to learn since we were younger. It wasn't so much the traumas and how people treated us. It was like, how do you get through it? How do you get better if they don't apologize and they don't change? It was not knowing how to master, yourself and how to change your emotional state. That's the stuff that keeps you in a high vibration, and it keeps you in power, because now it's like, no matter what happens, I can change my emotional state. Like, they don't get to change it, I get to change it. And it's great. I love what you said, Lisa. And I think I want to also mention kind of what Janessa was saying too, is that when there's one way, and you mentioned it too, there's one way that you talk about things just so that you can acknowledge your emotions and release it, right? So you want to kind of release that negative emotion so that you can say, hey, this is what I'm feeling, I don't like the way I'm feeling, so that you can shift it. You have to acknowledge it so that you can shift it. So when you are not acknowledging it and you're just in the problem and you're telling everybody about the problem, you're just continuing to create more problems. So, the thoughts go out, and how we bring back what we want is by our emotions. And if we are still talking about the problem, we're repeating that feeling of, this feels fucked up, I don't like the way what they did to me, and this thing happened. And we just keep repeating the pattern, and the more crap starts to happen. And now what we have to do is, when things are happening that we don't really like, we have to take it as feedback. This is feedback of my vibration, and I can change it at any time. Yes. And there's some things I got to do. I got to write, I got to meditate, I got to take a bath, I got to get myself into a higher vibration. I don't have to force myself to feel better tomorrow, but I have to work on, getting up the emotional scale. So I love that. Love it, love it, love it.
Yeah. I have something else to add. I noticed also through meditation this year that sometimes the body just says, that's enough for now. Take the rest of the week off, take the rest of the month off. And sometimes for me, I remember feeling, that's not the right message. What are you telling me? Did you not see our to-do list, our to accomplish list? That doesn't make sense. And I've learned this year to listen to that, that's not like, it's not relaxing and resting is not in vain, allowing other people to be there for you, to do things out of the ordinary, to shake things up and to take care of yourself in different ways is never ever in vain. And part of that self-care, I noticed, for me, it was very important for me to stop explaining why certain things made me uncomfortable or people made me uncomfortable. I think I felt like I needed to justify a lot of things before. And not even because people were asked, people might not have asked me to go deep, but I felt like I needed to go to deep, painful places to explain why, maybe I didn't want to be around certain relatives or in certain kind of environments. And now, okay, great. All that has given me information, feedback about who I am, but I don't have to do that. If I decide I don't want to spend Thanksgiving with a certain person, or I don't want to go to visit a certain person, that's okay. It shouldn't be, like I'd still have people sometimes they'd be like, well, family is everything, or, people that you grew up with, you kind of owe this or that to them. And realizing that I don't have to go in deep to find out why does this trauma exist, but just respect anything that I feel and just move forward knowing, okay, everything is going to work out and is working out. And I don't have to put myself in anything uncomfortable to prove or to figure out how to move forward. It'll happen automatically.
Yo, you did some leaps and bounds this year, Lise. Like,
thank you.
Like, I'm listening and I'm like, wow, like, yo, it's dope. It's beautiful. It's a great. It's funny you mentioned that, because growing up, right, sometimes for me personally, I have a lot of people in my life that are like that they feel they have that belief system of, I don't want to do something, so I have to create a problem so that way they can feel guilty. Whoever I'm telling or whoever they're being told to, the next party who's listening can feel heavy, like, oh, no, never mind. It's totally okay that you can't show up because clearly your life is falling apart, right? And I was raised like that. Like my mom is, I hate taking that, but she does that. Like,
I'll
no,
take the part out.
no, it's okay. But you know what I mean? Like, oh mom, hey, it's holidays. I would love to see you for the holidays because why not? It's holidays. My mom, oh, I can't because you know what? Life and there's a volcano that just erupted, an alien kicked our roof off, crazy shit. You know what I mean? All of a sudden, I'm like, oh no, how can I burden you with my need of my love for my family, right? So what so I'm like, when I see this, I'm like, this year I started to feel like, you know what? Don't even want to hear you. Don't even want to hear that story. I don't even want to be conditioned to believe that that's a viable pattern. Like that's something that that's acceptable and people know that's you don't need to do all of that. You can't come, you can't make it, you don't want to make it. Fine. You know what I'm saying? And that for me, that's what you just saying remind me of, like that pattern of people having to speak the doom and the gloom around them just so they can have a little bit of peace, right? Just so they keep you down. It's like, whoa. So what I started to do was tell people that would do that to me, like, listen, don't speak like that. It's okay. You can't do it. You can't make it. It doesn't make or break me and who I am and what I'm got going on. However, I want to teach you or tell you and share with you that speaking that you sound really burdened. So speaking that will constantly keep you in that. You know what I mean? And instead I started to teach people to own, the no. It's a complete sentence. No, I can't do it. Don't want to do it. It's okay. You know what I'm saying? So
I think it also comes from, because I used to do that too. I think it was because I felt bad about not going. So I had to really explain, this long drawn out story when really it was, because I felt responsible. Once you realize you're not responsible for people, how they feel and how they're going to take it, you don't have to go into this long, detailed story of how I'm so burdened and I can't show up for you. You could just say like, yeah, I'm not able to make it. And I really miss you and I'm sorry I'm going to, miss the event, but, maybe next time or whatever. And that is way more empowering than, well, this had happened and then this happened and this happened. And I just think women just give a lot of details too, though. But there was something that you guys said that I wanted to piggyback on, and now I don't remember. Maybe it'll come to me. I don't remember.
nice. I just gotta say, hold on, because you glittering over there. You got a whole glitter ring, a whole glitter necklace, and
Ooh,
you, Sherelle, bling of the bling. Sherelle,
oh, this is the ring I always have on.
your necklace is new.
No, I've had this since 19, or maybe
It's
2004 or something like that. I don't know. I've had it for a really long time. I don't change my jewelry that much, so.
it's really nice. I just seen it. It was all glistening. I was like, oh, she glittered.
Thank you.
Well, while you remember, there was something else that was really big for me. I remember early in this year, maybe like in spring, I kind of quit at some of the resistant things happening in my life. I remember I had like a whole blown out afternoon with myself, crying, walking, and just letting go of resistance. And that day I quit acting. I don't remember I don't know if you remember, Shra, but I was like, I quit. Like, and I realized I quit. I guess living in the pressure that I was creating, that was keeping me stuck from actually doing the things that I want because I was so worried about right and wrong. And I was considering everyone else except me and how how life was going to work out, and just putting like pressure on myself that was really hindering the way I move. So I did like this big I'm quitting thing. And it felt really good. I mean, I cried so much.
Crying.
And then I don't remember much pressure after that. I also don't remember too much work after that either. But I think but then I shortly after that I met one of like my favorite representations, one of my favorite people that I work with, and I don't know, I got involved in a lot more communities of acting and all over the world that I loved, and and I've been feeling fantastic. I felt like my work was a lot better, and I was more selective in what I wanted to do, but there was almost like a death of not almost, it was a death of resistance that needed to go. because it was limiting me, hurting me, and keeping me from what I want, you know? So yeah, I don't have that now. And it's also sometimes now it's like, so something feels very different and very new. So it's like, even sometimes I'm like writing emails, I'm like, oh my God. And it's like, it's the most simple emails that should never, you know, make someone who's like lived as much as me feel nervous. And I'm like, what should I put as the topic line? And I'm just like fresh and excited instead of frantic and worried about getting it wrong. So I think this year, or next year, or whatever year you can, if to accept and invite rebirths in whatever area of your life where things have not been, where things are ready to change, where you're ready for a new season, where things have been like dead, but you've just been dragging it, letting it go, not, and believing and knowing that it doesn't mean the things that you want won't come to you now. No, it means now they can come to you in a better way, at a better pace, with different circumstances that fit who you really are. And you just got to let go of all that stuff that you've been carrying with your expectations and your suffering.
Yeah, that's a
Love
great.
that. And now I think I remember what I think this was it. What I was going to say was that I think it was when Janessa was talking about her mom and you know wanted to see her and she was coming up with this you know story or whatever. I realized too that when I'm having struggle in a relationship, whether it's family, you know, friendships or whatever, that I became more curious about it. And I realized that the struggle was teaching me about what I desired. So, you know, I had a situation and I felt like I woke up one day and I realized I was pouring into everybody. I was, you know, giving them money and supporting them and doing all this shit. And the one time that I didn't show up the way they wanted me to, then it was like, there was this friction. And I just was like, wow, like 99% of the time I'm doing all these things and now all of a sudden, you know, I do this one thing and it's a problem. And, you know, and I was upset about it. And then I realized what it taught me and what I really was desiring. And what I really was desiring was I didn't want to be pouring into everybody and no one was pouring back into me. I really wanted a relationship where, like when you mentioned it with your mom when she's not available or whatever, like you want to call and say I'm ready to connect with you, and they're like I can't wait for you to come. Really, that's what it is that you're desiring. It's not really the friction that's happening. It's like I want to have more relationships, you know, and sometimes it comes in the form of family. I know, you know, my family. I don't want to talk about them in a whole, but there's certain ones that I feel like it's really about. I just call to see how they're doing and what's up with them and how I can help them. But because it seems like my life is so great and I don't need anything, they don't ask me how I'm doing, what I need, how they can support me. It's just really about, you know, do you have money? Can you do this for me? I'm struggling with this. And I feel like I'm pouring out and I'm pouring out and it wasn't coming back. I didn't get upset about it and decide I'm not going to have these relationships anymore. I think I just decided to minimize the amount of contact. But then I just said, you know what, I'm going to give it to the people that really appreciate it and really want it. So, you know, that's what I was trying to say. What I realized is when I'm having struggle in a relationship, it really gives me a lot of feedback of my desires and what I truly, truly want. It doesn't mean I have to cut off the relationship, but it definitely is telling me I need to move in a different direction.
Absolutely. I'm the same way, Sherelle. When we're rocks, like you're the strong one, we're all like human, but when you are seemingly to live the life that they see as perfect or valuable, they would love to be at, you know, they think we got it together as if we don't go through things and need a friend or need a hug or need somebody to call them like, you know what, I just tripped and fell and hit the lottery. You want 100,000? You know what I'm saying? Like we want that too. But one thing I want to say is I'm the same way. And what I realized was when I was doing those things, I wanted to remember Why do you do that? And it was the same thing, like you said, because I desire that as well. I deserve that. I really do desire that. And it's the same thing I started to do. I said, you know what? I'm going to minimize, I'm going to set healthy boundaries. So it's up to you. You can totally pour back if you want. If not, the universe is going to remove you, you know? And it was super empowering, super empowering.
Yeah.
You know what else I learned this year? Lisa taught me this. I never, ever, ever considered that as much as I did this year. It was Lisa, we did a couple of episodes and Lisa kept saying, you know what? I'm just gonna take a nap. I'm just gonna take a nap. That was Lisa's thing for a minute at the beginning. I have adopted that theory. And it works. It
Yeah,
works.
it's wonderful. People feel so guilty about taking naps. I would have good friends, and I know she'd be taking a nap, but she doesn't want to tell me. So then I can't say. Or one time I think I said, I might have been the jerk when I said something like, "Oh, must be nice." You know what I'm saying? And then after that, we could never be honest about our naps. But you don't have to, it doesn't, there's this idea of what productivity looks like. And it's usually at the expense of your mental health and your sanity and peace of mind. But it doesn't have to be like that. And if it's been like that for you this year, try next year, guilt free, take a couple moments for you, whether it's minutes, hours, to just rest in the middle of the day and wake up recharged and ready to go.
Yeah.
That was an ad right there. I'm gonna cut that. Put that in the reel.
Yeah, brought to you by Coach SG and friends.
That's right.
Well, because I agree. I just think that especially women being in a workforce, there's all this like you got to hustle and boss up, and you got to work. But what it says is that you got to work all day long, and we got to figure out how we make our money work for us, and we're not working for the money. That's the thing we need to do so that we can lay on the beach and still be making money.
Right.
All this hustle and bustle, like I'm so done with it. I'm done with it. I just want to work smart and not hard, and I want to really enjoy my life. And but that's the vision. If I don't have that vision, then I'm going to be working my ass off like crazy. And it doesn't mean that I can't work hard, and when it's I feel inspired to do so. So it doesn't mean like you just are lazy all the time, don't do anything. I don't really mean that, but like when it feels right and you have to do it, you do it, but not make that the goal, like you're working all day long. That's not what we're here for, to just work our asses to the bone. We're also here to enjoy life and inspire people to live their best lives as well. So
And then that attracts to you what you really want. For me, I have this saying, once it stops being fun, I'm done. Like if it's not fun, like thank God I enjoy what I do. Like I enjoy it. I enjoy it so much. Even the things that some people might be fearful of, I enjoy. So, it's fun for me. So it attracts more opportunity to stay in that vibe and for me to have my goal met. Right. But one thing that I also learned is the more that I sleep and nap and give myself that rest space, because this is Mayans. Um, I get messages in my dream state, and I'll be sleeping. And recently too, like recent, maybe during this last week or so, as the moon illuminates, I've been getting. I wake up like first thing that happens is, and it's an idea. As soon as I'm woken up by a new idea to add to what I like. So I've been working while I'm sleeping because I'm napping and I feel great at this nap. And all of a sudden I'll wake up like, I got it. like the guy from Dumbo. You remember the cartoon, the Disney, and the little conscious is speaking to him. He's like Dumbo, and he wakes up. He's like Dumbo. You know.
you went way back. You went way back.
I watched it the other day. And I was like, this is me. I get ideas, but no, seriously, I went to sleep and I woke up with such big and beautiful ideas. And I'm like, I don't know how, I run a nonprofit. Like I hardly could even, I don't make money. Like all I'm doing is like telling the universe, send me someone who can pay $3,000 for my tent. Send me somebody who's going to, and then I wake up with these ideas like, oh, we need gardening toys. We need this, we need that. And all of a sudden, doors, whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. I say it, I dream it, I wake up, the idea, I speak it, and it's happened. I'm a little powerful manifester, y'all.
I love it. She's like, I love it. But I think you're right. I think that rest time, that meditation time, the time where you're allowing yourself to think and be creative. Because when you're always busy and you're always putting out fires, there isn't a lot of downtime. There isn't a lot of creative time. So you've got to give yourself that time. And, I almost had to do it the opposite way, where I was running. I had to just slow it down, where I was taking baby steps so I can, bring my momentum up a little bit. So the other thing too is, we got to celebrate our wins, right? We got to change our optics so that we're looking at things that, in a way that we're celebrating our success, but we also have to prepare for our blessings. We have to get ready for what we want to manifest. And if we're just putting out fires, we're just recreating more of those fires, and we really have to prepare for our blessings. Do you have any parting words before I close this out?
I just wanted to say, be your best self, celebrate yourself, make others, like Sherelle said, not make them, but if they're not celebrating and just tolerating you, it's time to close that chapter. Be great, and wish you happy holidays and a healthy new year.
Love that. Love that. Thank you, ladies, for sharing.
You didn't, Sherelle. You didn't share yet. You didn't share.
What?
Well, we were just sharing.
Oh, well, I feel like I don't know. Life is just great. I almost feel guilty for sharing how great my life is, and it's not because of necessarily anything on the outside. It's really because I just learned how to be joyful all the time, and that I learned how to change my emotional state and how to just like focus on the things that matter. And if it's bugging me, like, okay, why is it bugging me, and make a change. But I am so grateful. I feel like I live in more gratitude than I ever have. I'm grateful for you ladies and this podcast. I still see my little yellow note where I said I wanted to do a post-it where I said I wanted to do a podcast. It was about 2 years ago. I was like, I'm not computer savvy. I don't know how I'm going to do it. I don't know who I'm going to do it with. And then today, you guys, we got this wonderful podcast, and we're getting great feedback from our listeners, and it just fills my spirit. And, and I feel like if nothing else, like this is perfect, so I'm also preparing for my blessings. The moments that I feel a little unsure, I have to go like, come on, Sherelle, like, you went through all this, you think you're going to go through all this and go backwards? You're only going to go forward, so I'm really excited about what's going to unfold. I'm excited about doing a retreat with you guys. I have my virtual assistant that's helping me work on my courses. So I'm hoping by January 1st, I'll have my courses out, because I want to be able to help more people, and for them to be able to get my coaching without having it to be one-on-one. So when I'm RVing, right, there's a place for them to go. But I'm really excited about that. And I just feel truly blessed. And it's not really the outside stuff. I mean, that stuff has changed, but it's not really that. It's all this inside work that I just feel so empowered, and I'm so happy about that. And I feel so loved also by you guys. So thank you. And, I want to make sure that we tell our listeners, so make sure you go back, and when you're taking stock of the year, that you only look at where you improved, not only where you won, but where you improved, where you made progress. Focus on your blessings, focus on what you appreciate, and the stuff that didn't go right, just take whatever lessons from it and move forward towards your blessings. I always talk about, I share my lessons and blessings. There's a lesson in everything, and you can really just change it around. You can change your vibration. You can change what you're manifesting if you really focus on what you want. But you can't just change your thoughts. You got to change your emotions too.
Absolutely.
My joyful friends, that's our show. Thank you for listening. If you like what you've heard, please subscribe and leave a review. Share this episode with someone you think will get some value out of it. We look forward to connecting